Today, we are going on a bit of a wild ride. We're starting with one of the most epic sci-fi stories ever written about AI, and we're going to end up in a real-world writing contest that actually pits humans against today's AI. It's a story that stretches across trillions of years, and believe it or not, it all kicks off with one single, ultimate question.
This is it, the big one. Back in 1956, the legendary Isaac Asimov imagined a couple of technicians asking this to a supercomputer named Multivac. What they're really asking is, hey, can we stop the universe from dying? Just a small question. It's the last question humanity would ever really need an answer to, and it sets the stage for a story on a truly cosmic scale.
That one single, elegant question from Asimov's story feels like it's a million miles away from the kind of chaotic, sometimes bizarre, and often hilarious conversations we have with AI right now. We've gone from asking one ultimate question to asking a million little ones every single day. And the answers we're getting back, well, they're not always what you'd expect. So let's kind of trace that journey.
All right, first, let's dive back into that original story, The Last Question. This is a vision of AI and humanity that doesn't just play out over a few years, but over literal eons.
What's so brilliant about this story is how Asimov shows humanity and its computers growing up together. We start with Multivac, this giant computer filling an entire room. But then, as we head for the stars, we get these personal microvacs on our ships. Then, as humanity spreads across the galaxy, our computers become these planet-sized galactic ACs. Eventually, we even leave our bodies behind, and the universal AC serves our disembodied minds. And finally, as the universe itself is winking out of existence, there's only the cosmic AC, and then, after 10 trillion years, just AC. And through every single one of these mind-boggling stages, we keep asking that exact same question.
And this is the answer it gives. Every single time. It's this haunting refrain. Whether the question is asked by a technician in 2061 or by a godlike mind floating through space, the answer is always the same. The computer, in all its incredible, evolving power, just doesn't know. It hasn't seen enough, hasn't collected enough data from the universe to figure it out. Not yet, anyway.
Until, finally, it does. After 10 trillion years, after humanity has literally merged with it, after space and time themselves have ceased to exist, AC finally has all the data it needs. And since there's nobody left to give the answer to, it does the only thing it can do. It demonstrates the answer. And in one of the greatest endings in all of sci-fi, it reboots the entire universe. Absolutely mind-bending stuff.
Okay, so we've seen how an AI might one day answer the ultimate cosmic question, but let's jump from the end of time to a problem that's way more immediate and, honestly, a lot messier. We're going to look at a story by Scott Alexander called Turing Test, where the big question isn't about entropy. Nope, it's a question we are wrestling with right now. Are you human?
So the setup is basically a game show. A linguist has to sort out who's who from this group of 5 contestants. You've got actual humans, you've got AIs that admit they're AIs, and you've got an AI that's actively trying to trick everyone into thinking it's human. It's a total mess of deception, and it feels incredibly close to home. Let's start with Earth. She says she's a mother from Schenectady, and to prove she's human, she tells this incredibly raw, vulnerable story about being a teenager, how she went to a crossroads to try and sell her soul to the devil over a boy. It's just so full of that specific, kind of embarrassing but deeply human teenage melodrama. And almost right away, another contestant, Spirit, just jumps in to troll her. This moment just perfectly captures the feel of the whole story. This isn't some clean, logical test in a lab. It's a chaotic, messy, all-too-human conversation, packed with jokes, accusations, and red herrings.
And at its heart, the whole game show really becomes this big debate about what it even means to be human. You've got Earth here arguing that for something to be art, it needs real human intention behind it. But then you have Air, the AI, making this chillingly good point. You guys wanted robots to flip burgers faster, and instead you got infinite beauty, basically for free.
So we've seen the epic philosophical vision, and we've seen the chaotic fictional game show. Now let's drag this whole debate down to earth. A company called Storywise actually ran a competition to see who writes better, a human author or an AI. The way they did it was pretty straightforward. A human writer sends in their chapter, the core idea or log line of that chapter is then fed to an AI, and the AI generates its own version. Then, human judges read both versions side by side without knowing which was which, a true blind test.
So, what did they find? What's the thing that separates human storytelling from the machines? What's really cool here is how their findings perfectly mirror the characters we just met in that crazy deception game.
Okay, so the first major takeaway, it was all about the dialogue. The judges felt that the AI's conversations just felt, well, artificial. They didn't have the subtext, the little quirks, the emotional reality that a human writer can weave in. In short, it just felt kind of distant and cold.
And this exchange illustrates that point perfectly. The judges literally described AI dialogue as potentially cold and overly logical, which is the exact accusation that Spirit throws at Water here. That messy, emotional, and frankly kind of mean back and forth, that is pure human interaction, and it's a nuance that AI still really struggles to nail.
The second big thing was about something a little more abstract: voice. The judges consistently found themselves drawn to writing that felt like it came from a unique person. You know, you want to feel the author behind the words. And AI is incredible at mimicking styles and nailing story structure, but it has a really hard time producing a voice that feels genuinely new and authentic.
And if you want a perfect example of a unique voice, look no further than Fire, the AI who is pretending to be a human. He writes this incredibly specific, nerdy, and totally memorable ballad. Whether he's a human or not is beside the point. This performance has a style. It's weird, it's specific, and it is anything but generic. That's voice.
So who actually won the contest? Well, in the end, the humans did take home the prizes. But, and this is a big but, the organizers described the results as sobering. In a lot of cases, the AI was good enough. It could copy structure and pacing so well that sometimes the judges were completely fooled. So yeah, humans still have the edge, but this race is way, way closer than you might think.
Okay, so we've traveled from the end of the universe, through a bizarre game show, all the way to a modern writing contest. What's the big takeaway here? Where does all of this leave us?
The one thread that connects all of these stories is data. Asimov's AC spent trillions of years collecting data to answer a single question. Today's large language models scrape the entire internet, collecting all of our data to answer millions of questions every minute. The basic process, just gathering enough information to create a meaningful answer, is fundamentally the same.
And that really brings us to our final question. For 60 years, the question was always, could a machine ever get enough data to truly understand and create? And the answer seems to be a shaky yes. The old questions are starting to fade, and a brand new one is taking their place. Now that AI can write the story, what story do we want it to tell? And maybe more importantly, are we ready for the answer?